Hello everybody. Welcome to the MBUSI webinar for our challenge number 5, drone-based inventory counting. My name is Kai and I'm in the IT department responsible for setting up this challenge. I'm joined here by my two subject matter experts from the logistics area, Ulf and Shoaib. They'll be answering your questions later on and as well give you a little overview about the challenge. As mentioned, they're about to give you a quick overview of the actual challenge, give you some additional information, and then we'll jump straight into the Q&A session. So at this point, you should see a little Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. If you have any questions already, go ahead and start typing that in, or you can wait once our subject matter experts talk and then enter your questions. Once we answer some predetermined questions that were already submitted to us in advance, we will jump straight to those questions that you have. With that being said, I'm going to give the word over to my subject matter experts.
I'm Shoaib Belim. I'm in the supply chain planning group here. To extend to Kai's point, this challenge is very important for us for a multitude of reasons. The first being maintaining the inventory accuracy in the warehouse, in the production shops. That is one of our key drivers to maintaining an efficient flow of parts all throughout our supply chain. Counting is always considered as an activity that is not production, directly supporting production, but it is a big contributor to how efficiently we are able to deliver parts on the line. Currently, we have parts that are counted periodically. We have a cycle counting team that is equipped with forklift, scissor lifts, scanners, and all other equipments that we need. Our highest level of we have parts that are stored in levels that go as high as 27 feet. And we have different racks in different warehouses. We also have different supporting equipment like scissor lifts, high bay forklifts. And to give you an overview, we have almost 1,000 different types of packaging boxes. They all come with different labels. The standard format for the labels is defined. We have about 5 to 7 standards. But again, because of the complexity of the number of the different packaging types, it makes it challenging for us to have these labels counted accurately to capture all the information, including the box identification, the quantity, part number, in some cases, maybe the quality level of the part, CGS level. So we spend, to conclude, we basically have a lot of resources we spend on this. And one of the challenges as identified by the management team is to simplify this with as much as less manual intervention. So we reduce the errors that we see and get a more smooth line process to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe Ulf wants to add some things on the system side.
My name is Ulf Westheider. I'm working in the IT department for logistics. Maybe just for an imagination. So at the moment we have racks which are several feet high. So let's say they are stacked up to 5 racks on each other. And for counting those totes, we have to go on a scissor lift with a manual scanner, scan the barcode on the tote, and to know exactly what kind of packaging and what kind of goods we have in the warehouse. And our idea was at the beginning, let's say, can't we use drones for enhancing this process? So something like putting on a scanner on a drone or a camera or something else. So that's up to you how you do it technically, so that we can see what kind of packaging material, what kind of goods we have in the warehouse, And also it's up to you how far you can, let's say, enhance this technology. So coming from maybe a manual drone which scans, which is operated by hand, to a drone which can be operated and makes a list, up to maybe a kind of autonomous working drone. So that's all up to you in this challenge. What's your best idea how you could do a cycle counting within the warehouse with a drone in a more or in a better way like we have today?
Okay, well, thank you very much, guys. So with that being said, I'd like to go ahead and jump straight into the Q&A question. As mentioned, please go ahead, type in any question you might have. We will start with the questions that were submitted to us by you already in advance. So the first question is, what is the width of the aisles in general?
So the standard width of our aisles is 13 feet. So that is the standard fee across all shops, warehouse, and this is because to accommodate the equipment that we use. So it includes the high bay forklifts that can go as high as to reach our G level basically. So 13 feet is what we consider as our standard.
Okay, 13 feet as the width. All right. What other objects might be interfering with the drones?
So let's say normally in the aisles there shouldn't be other topics, but of course there could be that some toads are standing in the mid of the aisle. Although it should be not permitted to go by foot or with a forklift through the aisle when operating a drone. That's also a U.S. law at the moment. It could be that a forklift or some person walks by and at least the drone should recognize it or should not go there. We will have a look on the place where we do maybe the pilot, so that at least, let's say, hanging signs or something like this, which could be there at the moment, can be put aside so that there should be no wires, at least in the aisle.
So this leads to the next question, which is similar in nature. Would drones be allowed to fly in an area where humans operate?
At the moment, this is strictly forbidden by law. So except of the drone operator, there shouldn't be a personal, but of course, in case of incidents, it could happen.
Okay. Is there an expectation on how long a drone should be able to fly before recharging?
Well, that depends a little bit on what drone you are using. So actually, I don't think that we expect to build your own drone. If you do it, you are allowed of it. You can use a standard commercial or semi-professional drones for it. And currently, let's say they have battery ranges from 10 to 30 minutes, depending on the weight. And it's up to you to decide which drone you want to use. We have no currently limitations to it. But of course, let's say if at the end you can show us, well, we have a very good weight and time ratio, that would be one advantage to you, but there's no strict limitations on it.
Okay. Do all toads have barcodes facing the front of the shelf?
So majority of our parts, yes, we do have barcodes facing the aisle or the picking side as we refer to. But in some cases, we have multiple boxes that are packed on one pallet. So what could happen is you can have a tote that is in between surrounding totes that covers up. So the barcode label is not exposed. Those are some cases, but ultimately the bigger package still has a label that's identified. So yes, the standard is to have all barcode identification facing the aisle so the picker can see the barcode and the number.
Okay. What does Wi-Fi coverage look like in a storage area?
So normally the complete storage area should be covered by Wi-Fi, at least it is. Of course, there could be some cases when Wi-Fi breaks down, but that's similar to office locations.
Okay, so I think one thing to mention is that it's not a given. I think there might be dead spots as well from what I heard in the past. So it's not a guarantee that there is a Wi-Fi coverage at any location in those storage areas.
Should be, let's say, but there might be lags at the moment.
Okay. So then the first question from our board over here, will the drones be able to fly during off hours or during production only?
Well, during the test or the pilots, we will do it for sure during the off hours because we don't want to interfere with forklifts and with the personnel there. Also, we will have special people from security being on site to have a look on this pilots. But let's say if we look in the broad future, of course, we want to have it during production, but it's also a legal issue, and let's say that's the second or third step.
Okay. The next question is a little bit similar to the one we just had. How far or how many aisles will need to be covered by the device?
So currently the way our racks are laid out is you have one aisle and then you have racks on both sides. So either they can capture one at a time, come back and capture the other side, which we normally do. So when we are going through a route, we cover one side, turn back and cover the other side. Okay. So basically it's one aisle at a time.
So that already partially answers the next question, which is, will there be a need for multiple drones to fly at once or just one at a time?
Well, for me, that depends on your solution. So actually, we don't need to have multiple drones. But if you have an idea where you can use multiple drones to have it much more faster or much more reliable, that's of course also an allowed idea. So you can use multiple drones. Maybe it has some advantages, but you don't have to.
What is the budget for the project? So I might be the best to answer this question right here. So of course, since this is part of the Innovation Challenge, if your submission were to win, you could win up to $50,000 in proof of concept funding. So that is the maximum amount. It doesn't mean it has to be the $50,000. It could actually be less than that, depending on your proposal. But up to $50,000 would be the maximum price that would go towards a proof of concept funding for this challenge. How much were you expecting to pay?
12.
So that's a
per drone in the future.
Oh, per drone in future purchase orders. Sorry, I missed the other half of the question here.
Let's say I can't tell you that. That belongs to the business case because let's say, of course, you always in the, let's say, if you make a business case, you have the advantages to get rid of additional personnel, to speed up the process, to have higher reliability, and so on. And against this, you have to count the complete process with drones. So I can't actually say what the drone per se will cost. We'll have a look on the process, and then let's say you have to calculate a business process. But maybe just as an imagination, a person a year will at least cost you $100,000 or something like this. If you could get rid of additional person for drone counting, you can calculate this against a drone, but you don't know how many, let's say, how many time you will save with a drone. So that's really, let's say, we can't say it at the moment. And even if you look on the companies who offer drones, they have different kind of use cases and different kind of financial ways how you could pay for it. So.
Exactly. And what I like to stress about this challenge is there's of course already a lot of different drone scanning ideas underway. So the real innovation here in this case would be how to make it basically fiscally the most effective. So there's a lot of competitors we know already out in the field, and I know there have already been sister plants that have been launching similar initiatives. The real big thing for us would be how to make it scalable on a most cost-efficient basis. That is, I think, the main challenge actually within this challenge. Because I think drone scanning itself is already somewhat established. How to make it economically as possible is really...
Well, even if drone scanning, so it's also depending on the reliability. So if you say you have a drone, but let's say only 50% of the scans work and the rest you have to scan manually, of course, that's an additional effort. And then at the end, the business case is not there. On the other side, for example, you could think of a process, and that's just one idea, that, for example, the material planner who is responsible for planning of a device just clicks on his laptop and then a drone flies autonomously in the warehouse. So at the end, so as a very broad idea, and does the cycle counting for him automatically. Then you get rid of the complete process. You don't have to walk down to the warehouse. You don't have to communicate. So that's a huge effort or a huge benefit. And there you can save really money. So, but let's say the ideas of you, they will probably be somewhere between this, and let's say it depends a little bit. So if you have a very complex idea which has a very good benefit, it might count, or you have a simple idea, maybe just very plain idea for having a drone in the hand of an operator to go there automatically and scan it, but it's so easy to use and it's very cheap. Maybe this counts too. So it depends on your idea.
Okay. One more question. Would you rather have one expensive but more versatile drone, or many less expensive and less versatile drones?
Well, as I said, it depends a little bit on your solution. So if you say maybe you want to have a swarm of 100 drones flying around to the warehouse and making cycle counting in 5 minutes, that could be an idea. Or you say, I have one very sophisticated drone which is flying on the trigger of the material planner. That could be a different idea. So that's up to you. To be honest, if I say, well, the maintenance of 100 drones could be a little bit critical from my point of view, but if you have experience in this, yeah, you are free to do it.
So with, I think we have no more questions. So with that in mind, if you still have a question, please type it in now. We will cycle back to it at the end. But I would like to remind everybody of some final dates that we have. So if you have not registered yet at all through our website, innovatewithmbusi.com, by May 15th, so that's the registration deadline, our partners at Urban Engine will then supply an informational package to you. The next deadline is then May 18th. So that is actually the real submission deadline, when we expect to have all the submissions for ideas sent in to our partners at Urban Engine. So this would be your final proposal. The deadline for this, May 18th. Your proposal can be in any format that you think suits you best. So it could be a video, it could be a slide deck, it could be a white paper if you think that would explain your proposal the best. Just please make sure that your proposal is really tailored to the challenge that you are pitching for. We will then announce the semi-finalists on May 22nd. So semi-finalists will be invited to our facility, where you can then interact with the subject matter experts and also tour and take a look at the area where your solution would be applied to. If you have any questions, please contact us at MBUSI@urbanengine.com. We also have a Slack channel that has been established. You find that link on the website, innovatewithmbusi.com. Register for Slack. It's an interactive chat tool where we have chat rooms, so to speak, for every single challenge, as well as some general information. If you chat on Slack, you'll get an answer probably the quickest. As mentioned, all of this information can be found on the website as well. And with that, I would like to say a huge thank you for all your interest. And we sincerely hope to have to get you interested in submitting a really good challenge for us, a submission to our challenge. Keep in mind, this is a really great opportunity for you to get your foot in the door at a major Mercedes-Benz production facility. You will get major exposure to decision makers for management here in the plant, but also from our international colleagues that will be here on site for the final event. As an additional bonus, we will have our partner Startup Autobahn on site as well. Startup Autobahn is a partnership from Mercedes-Benz with other companies such as Porsche, BASF, and a ton of other automotive industry suppliers. They host a big pitch event in Stuttgart, Germany once a year. And of course, the winner of our challenge would get a ticket for that event to pitch their idea there. So this will give you even more exposure on an international level outside of just Mercedes-Benz. So you can also visit their website, startupautobahn.com, for more information. With that being said, thank you again, and we're looking forward to your proposal.